Hi everybody, it's Lasha, and we are reading Ask Not. Welcome to High Voltage. So, I'm going to pick up where we were before, and then at the end of this chapter, I'm going to give you some of my thoughts and tell me what you think. So, we left on page... We're supposed to start at page 33. But you know what? I would like to pick up some of where we left off because I interjected. I'm not interjecting until the end. And I'll read much faster. Okay. Jackie had recently bought a new St. Christopher medallion to replace the one he'd lost, her wedding gift to him. She had tried not to read too much into Jack losing that medal. Jack could be careless, not just with things, but with people, women, his own wife, even his own baby daughter. It was August of 1956. Jack was about to make a last-minute run to be the vice presidential candidate, vying for the spot on the December ticket next to Governor Adlai Stevenson of Illinois, and Jackie was expecting. This was the first pregnancy she was carrying successfully after 2 miscarriages. Her most recent, the year before, which would have been 1955. None of Jack's sisters seemed to have problems getting or staying pregnant or giving birth and then getting pregnant again immediately. Jack's mother, Rose, had 9 children. Jackie's sister-in-law, Ethel, was on Rose's track, and she and her husband Bobby already had 4, and Ethel was expecting her 5th in 5 years with not a single complaint. Jackie knew the Kennedys were judging her as a woman, and no one judged her more harshly than the Kennedy women. Remember this? Yeah. Why couldn't she just stop smoking? Why did she have such a sensitive disposition? They wouldn't hear of stress, the rigors of campaigning, the pressure to look perfect and never misspeak, to quietly abide a Kennedy man's wandering eye. Jackie wasn't naive. She knew Jack wouldn't be faithful, like she knew, but she hadn't known just how promiscuous he was or how little he'd do to protect her. Later, she'd learn, along with the whole world, in news reports, too much to bear in the world. There's just too much to bear in the world. I'm trying to get down a Jackie accent. But she hadn't known how promiscuous he was or how little he would do to protect her, his own wife. Later, she learned, along with the whole world in the newspapers, too numerous to bear, that Jack had lightly infected her with his own constant sexually transmitted diseases, among them chlamydia, and this was quite likely why she'd had so much trouble caring for her first 2 pregnancies to team. Now, you're going to want to know what chlamydia is. So I can explain it, but at the end. And in the meantime, go to Dr. Google. So, When Jackie got pregnant a third time, she was rightfully nervous, waiting until she had safely into her 7th month to create a nursery at their new home in Virginia. So, yeah, at the beginning it talked about the assassination, and now they're going back to pre-presidential life. It wasn't enough. Jackie was inconsolable when Jack fell short of the VP nomination. She knew how anxious he was to reach the White House. Remember this? He was sure he wasn't going to live a long life. Interesting. He was sure he wouldn't live a long life. Losing 3 siblings, 2 to violent deaths, and 1 simply gone missing. We'll get back to that. Okay. It was the name of things for Jackie. Sorry. It was the rarest of things for Jackie, an unguarded display of emotion. Okay, so it was difficult for her to express emotion, but she wasn't just sad about his loss, the VP nomination. She warned him to stay with her until the baby was born. She was anxious and afraid, and she wanted her husband. But Jack had headed to trip up to the Mediterranean, remember this part? Off to lick his wounds, sailing with his brother Teddy and fellow Senator George Smathers. And everyone in D.C. knew that Smathers and Jack got up together. Got up. Oh, sorry. Everybody in D.C. knew what George and Jack were up to. You won't stay with me? It would make me the happiest gal in the world, she asked. Jack left the next morning. She had not wanted to beg, to be the needy wife of an important man, and Jackie could rationalize his decision. It was the done thing in their world. Jack and Jackie's fathers, compulsive womanizers themselves, found nothing wrong with Jack's piccadillies. No matter the time or place or women, Jackie had been bred to tolerate it. Bred. That's an interesting word. Bred to tolerate it. Now, a friend of the family had her over for dinner. Her seat over to dinner, seat her across from the wife's, slide your hand under her dress, staff member, part of the job, movie stars, impossible to resist. Don't even ask. Ask not what the country can do for you. What can you do for the country? Because it's hard. Wow. All right. So when Jackie got pregnant the 3rd time, she was right. Oh, we already read that. That's why I brought I wasn't going to do this. I need my highlighter. I need my highlighter, and you're coming with me. Okay, let's take a tour of the house. Let's go find the highlighter. So isn't it interesting when I look at the chapter with Carolyn Bassett and JFK Junior and how she would like really get off on humiliating him? you know, the marriage, it's all about keeping up appearances and your status. And Carolyn had a huge sense of fashion. And it was interesting because I was listening to Kinsey Schofield today and Maureen Callahan about the book. And I must say, it's absolutely fascinating. All right, you know what? I'm going to bring the book and come down here because I can see. And there, oh wait, here's even a pen. Perfect. Okay. So, yeah, Carolyn Bassett. So what Kinsey Schofield was talking about with Maureen Callahan, which I didn't understand. Why is that doing that? Which I didn't understand, was she said that that Meghan Markle was imitating the way Carolyn Bassett dressed. What is she talking about? Can somebody please explain to me? What is she talking about? That doesn't make any sense. And then, you know, remember the kayak trip that they took? So he didn't even, they say he had a death wish. I find it more like self-sabotaging. Nobody wishes to die unless they do, and it happens. Especially with online bullying. I know somebody who, a family member, was so ripped apart by bullying that they couldn't handle it, this person. And that's a horrible thing. So that's why I put up those videos today about bullies. And the Kennedy men bullied women. 100%. Okay, so where did I put that pen? Okay, here's the yellow highlighter. Perfect. So this is high voltage. There. Yeah, I know. I keep the names of everybody. And I make strange art that you could call quite elementary. At any rate, here we go. Okay. It wasn't enough. Okay, so the morning, okay. In those last few weeks, when Jack was sailing in the Med, remember this part? Jackie was at her mother and stepfather's estate on Rhode Island. She wanted to be there, but it was the best of bad options. Her sister Lee was married and living in London, and Jackie had no one else. This really, really helps. Jackie had no one else, especially highlighting all the important parts for review. And we read this part. Jackie was always happiest alone, even as a small child, preferring her dolls, her horses, and her books to actual company. As a teenager, she couldn't bear for anyone to see her imperfections, her faults. No, 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 dear. No black moods. Now she couldn't bear for anyone to know the truth about her marriage. Isn't that a lesson in life, though, not to worry about what other people think of you? And if you're out in the open about who you are from the get, like, okay, so she couldn't bear for anyone to know the truth about her marriage. We're right here. Now, I did read this, but I'm reading it again, but I want to interject on this one. No, I'm not going to. Her mother knew some of it, of course. Why else would Jackie be with her, waiting out the last 2 weeks of her first viable pregnancy? The media brought the line about Jack. The media brought the line about Jack needing rest, but all of those men, remember, they had hero worship. Okay, we talked about that. Then Jack Kennedy came along 2 months later. Jackie silently slipped her engagement ring in, oh yes, Hudson's pocket and walked away. But to Jackie, who hated messy emotional scenes, it was cleanest, kindest cut she could deliver. Jack was hardly a sure thing, but Jackie was laser focused. He was laser focused on him. The handsome, charismatic, witty, intelligent, popular, powerful, wealthy Jack Kennedy, on track to become senator, and with his father's excuse my ignorance, machinations, MACHINATIONS, of money and money president. Jack Kennedy, who could, and most often did, have any woman he wanted. Jackie wanted, I always get my R's and N's backwards. Jack wanted to marry him. She knew that early on. It wasn't just his family's wealth, though that was something. The importance of marrying rich, having been dumped into Jackie and Lee at a young age, but too many things. She admitted the Kennedy clannishness and loyalty. Yeah, they were like a clan. They were loyal to each other, weren't they? While, sorry, just a sec. Okay. While that, okay, unlike what she had, okay, wait, I'm getting tongue-tied. Unlike what she had growing up, they were already a famous family. One resident, okay, I have to face this way. Jack was a challenge. Jackie loved a challenge. If she became Jack's wife, she might succeed where her mother had not, training an infamous womanizer, and Jack was a passport to a bigger life. So these women knew what they were doing. That was one of the reasons Jackie rejected John Huston. Remember this? And after she rejected her first engagement, she went to Jack Kennedy. And it says here, remember this part? Slowly she began making herself indispensable, hand-delivering homemade lunches and pretty baskets as Jack worked in his Senate office, traveling to other states to hear him speak and watch him woo a crowd, happily accompanying him to rubber chicken dinners and engaging all the mind-numbing small talk, gamely participating in all that Kennedy roughhousing up on the Cape until a broken ankle and the dear adoration of old Joe, Jack's father. Jack's father left Jackie in her favorite place alone with the book. All right, so they were both intellectuals. They both were, is it voracious or ferocious readers? They loved to gossip in that little socialite circle. So in those circles, you can imagine that everybody knew everybody and people are connected, and Kennedys are connected to this day. I don't want to disparage every single Kennedy. But what I thought was, okay, don't think about what you thought about Rory Kennedy and the documentary on Bobby Kennedy when she was interviewing her mother about what a great dad he was. Hey, people can be all things. So she translated 10 books in French for Jack, just so he could have a more nuanced take on Indochina. And also, she joked, to force a proposal only to herself would she admit. It wasn't a joke. She was dying to marry him. They were, as Jackie put it, twin icebergs. Twin icebergs. Oh, so Camelot was based on twin icebergs? Wow. Jack had never heard such an Okay, twin icebergs. On the surface, with all the with all the messy, interesting stuff submerged and quietly breaking apart deep, deep below. Jack had never heard of such an apt description of himself, his childhood trauma. Even by Irish Catholic scandals had been presented. Wait, the maternal neglect, the domineering, unfaithful father, the mysterious fate of his sister, beautiful Rosemary. Did you know that the Kennedys had a sister named Rosemary, who was only 23 years old when she disappeared? The remaining siblings, understanding they were never to ask where Rosemary was or what happened to her. Jack had lost his 29-year-old brother, Joe Junior, a Navy pilot, in the mid-air explosion during World War II. 4 years later, in 1948, Jack's beloved sister, Kik, died in a plane crash. She was only 28. Jack himself had nearly died many times and was a bona fide war hero. Yet, to look at him, you'd never know any of it. Jack Kennedy, on the surface, was placid, easygoing, dashing, a good time, and of all the women he'd been with, Jackie Bouvier, 23 years old. Jack's 35. So she was 23, he was 35. He felt that she was most like him. Neither had ever been much of a joiner. They were both self-sufficient, self-sustaining, social. Their independence forged into lonely and often terrifying childhoods. Jack had been a very sick little boy, and Jackie knew all about that. Boston. At 2 years, this is terrible. At 2 years old, he'd already survived measles, whooping cough, chicken pox, and then scarlet fever, which almost killed him. We're still talking about Jack Kennedy, and Jackie Kennedy knew it. We should call Jackal and Jackus. Jackid and Jackus? I don't know. But at any rate, he'd never spent a month in the hospital, then a few months recovering in Maine, a little boy alone, his parents never visiting. Could you imagine the disconnect? That's what turns people, okay, never mind. Bronchitis, appendicitis, tonsillitis, upper respiratory infection, jaundice, ear infection. On and on it went. Little Jack, terrified and often near death, while his father, who glorified health and robustness above all else, was away with another woman. So this is Jack's father, Joe. How else to explain her complete absence from Jack's bedside? Rose pumped out baby after baby and left her growing broad. What? Oh, Rose, Joe's wife, sorry. And Rosemary was the daughter that they had lobotomized. Spoiler alert. How else to explain her complete absence from Jack's bedside? Rose pumped out baby after baby and left her growing broad for couture shows in a Paris 6-week vacation to California. The hugs. You're a great mother to go away and leave your children all alone, Jack told his mother once. He was 5 years old. I'm repeating that again. You're a great mother to go away and leave your children all alone, Jack told his mother once. So we're on page 34. Jackie understood Black Jack for all the devotion to Jackie. His namesake was a drunk, a gambler, and a playboy. He was never, hence the, he was never home. The party was for real fun, was all outside the house with other people. No blah, 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 blah. Under her mother was so prone to, the mother was prone to rages, and Black Jack, which is Jackie O's father, and like Joe Kennedy Senior, had a habit of cheating with his wife's friends. Wife's friends? Oh my God. Like, seriously, Lord. Jackie was 5 when Janet was smacked. What? Jackie was 5 when Janet first smacked her across the face. Who the hell's Janet? Oh, here we go. Wait a minute. Okay. So Joe Kennedy was a philanderer. He had a habit of cheating with his wife's friends, holding their hands or grooming them right in front of Janet Lee Bouvier, American socialite and daughter of wealthy Manhattan developer. Janet, of course, was expected to maintain her ladylike decorum. Smile, ignore, black. Jack's humiliations swallow each one like an that's a good analogy. Jack's humiliations swallow each one like a cold cocktail. Jackie was 5 when Janet, her mom, first smacked her across the face. Jackie learned to take it. She knew her mother didn't like her very much. She looked just like Black Jack, the father, and had his independent rule-breaking streak, her own dark magnetism and aloofness. She didn't much care what other people, including her own mother, thought, except when it came to men. Janet really did want the best for her daughters, marrying well. Money was the only real protection a woman had in the world back then, Janet told them. Love was nice, but it wasn't enough. What man would want a woman like Jackie? She was extremely bright, sharp, and funny, cutting even, and she had real goals. Janet told Jackie to tone herself down, to hide her intelligence, lest she scare off the best available men. Mainly because she didn't want to. She needed a man who could keep up with her and let her shine. And look how that turned out. Janet tried to hide her depression, but Jackie knew her mother drank and took pills and sometimes slept the day away. Neither one of her parents had healthy little Jackie learned to shrink herself down while growing up fast. By the time she was 10, Jackie was the real adult in the house. Black Jack was gone by then, weary of his wife's outbursts and violence. That's what men always say back then. If a woman was, never mind, wife's outbursts and violence. Janet had one showed blah 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 blah. What Janet had once showed her husband during an argument. He hit his head and bled in front of Jackie, who had stopped playing with her stuffed animals. It was one of the few times Janet ever saw her daughter cry. By the time she was 10, Jackie was the real adult in the house. Black Jack was gone by then, weary of his wife's outbursts and violence. Janet had once shown her husband during an argument in an argument, he hit his head and bled in front of Jackie, who had stopped playing with her stuffed animals. It was one of the few times Janet ever saw her daughter cry. Normally Jackie wouldn't give her mother the satisfaction, especially when she became the object of her mother's rage. The slapping of the face, the hitting, the continued well into Jackie's early 20s. If something unpleasant happens to me, Jackie said later, I block it out. I have this mechanism. Jack had that too. We are now on page 36. Tomorrow is August the what? August the 15th. August 15th of 2024. So tomorrow we're picking up right here. Okay? And yeah, we should be able to get through Jackie tomorrow. Let's see. We're so close. There's just a few more pages until we get into Mimi Beardsley and Diana DeVay. And Jackie, absolutely. You know what? I'm just going to finish Jackie now. On August the 25th, Jackie woke up. Yeah, I'm going to finish it now. And then we can start fresh tomorrow. Okay. On August the 23rd of 1956, Jackie woke up from a nap in great pain and bleeding heavily. She was rushed to Newport Hospital where it's too late, it's 10 o'clock. When Jackie once came out of anesthesia hours later at 2 in the morning, she had a cesarean section and gave birth to a girl. The baby was stillborn. This is about Annabella. When Jackie came out of anesthesia hours later at 2 in the morning, it wasn't her husband at her bedside, but her brother-in-law, Bobby. I wonder if she had an affair with Bobby. Does anybody know about that or heard that? When Jackie came, okay, so of course Jack was in the Med. He was in the Mediterranean. He wasn't reachable. Of course Jack was reachable in the Med. Bobby knew because he'd already spoken to his brother. What's done is done, Jack told Bobby over the phone. This is Jack Kennedy. The baby is lost. Jack Kennedy saw no point in cutting his vacation short. Her husband had given no greater rejection, mourning a child she never got to see or hold. Now, I don't understand that. Jackie lay in the hospital, absorbing the message that her husband's absence, the lack of so much as a phone call, had sent. I would rather be off with random women than comforting you. I'm not sad about the baby. Someone else can take care of the funeral. What does it matter? The baby's, he said the word D. That she would read much later. Was what Jack, wait a minute. That she would read much later? That she would read much later was what Jack had said to his own father. I don't care about how much pain you're in. I don't care about you. Really, what else was there? No, what else was there to understand? Meanwhile, anyone who had ever seen Jackie nurse Jack back to health in those early days of the marriage, Jack nearly dying after one of 4 risky back surgeries, would never have doubted her love for him. And Jackie never complained that she'd been sold a false bill of goods. Okay, I need to stop on page 38. I'm glad that I reread that through. So this is where we're going to start tomorrow. I did practice reading. However, it's a little late. It was supposed to be up at 8. All right. Thank you for joining or coming to High Voltage. Okay? I really, really appreciate it. And ask not the Kennedys and the women they destroyed. And there's really only 3 pages. Wait, sorry. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 pages. And then part 2 is the girls. So, hey, AI, thank you for sending me this on my birthday. I really appreciate it. And Melody, oh, I did another painting today that I wanted to show you. So we'll go upstairs. I'm done reading now. So that was good. I read straight through and I thought it important to go over some of the material that we already covered because I didn't read straight through. And I've had feedback from people saying that they want to listen to it like an audio book and then discuss after. So after we finish Jackie and talk about the girls, and then we talk about that lady named Vaughn or Vane and the other woman, and do you know that Jack Kennedy had an affair with her sister? That's why Jackie cut her sister out of the will. I had a friend betray me. I was heartbroken. And you know what? It wasn't about the guy. It was about the friendship and the camaraderie between women. Also, tomorrow, I want to let you know I'm ready to talk about what I really think about transgender, what I really think about Christianity, God, what my core belief values are. Because I think that and listen, thank you for those who signed up for this channel. I don't know who you were. I know there was a gentleman that left a message and he said, well, I don't know what I just watched, but I'm here for the ride. And I just thought that was adorable, and the name escapes me right now. And yeah, but I did my shout outs. And don't forget, we've got our fall raffle in October, which is 12 weeks away. 12 weeks away. So if you want the $25 gift certificate, don't forget, you've got to comment, or I really won't know. I'm only adding commenters in this time. That's it. Is that like bribery? I'm joking. You know what? I like to give back because you've all given me so much. And there's Sophie. Okay. Thanks, everybody.